We're gonna watch the Godrick The Grafted Elden Ring boss lore explained video by MadLuigi. As far as I know, I don't want to spoil anything for myself, but I'm pretty sure we fight Godrick just once in the game. I just found out that we fight Margit twice, apparently, but I didn't really look into the video. I didn't want to spoil anything else for myself, so I want to learn more about Godrick. So we're gonna watch this and learn a little bit more about that monster that we just killed. Let's do this.
Purporting to be of the golden lineage, but too weak and sickly to be truly worthy, stands the first Shardbearer boss of Elden Ring, Godrick the Grafted. Ironically, even the game itself mocks him for his weakness. Despite
The game mocks him for his weakness. I mean, it was a difficult fight for sure. I mean, I don't see how the game was mocking him by any means from what I remember and how the fight went.
his own announcement as Lord of all that is golden, the game immediately contradicts him, with his boss bar stating his name to be Godrick the Grafted, not the Golden. Godrick is a boss immediately known to the player as compensating for his lack.
Okay, I was about to say, how does this guy have 13 flasks or 12 flasks and that much health? 227,000 runes. This must be like the new game plus thing, for sure. I hate this boss. He's ugly and has too many arms. Yo, we packed him up, man. We got him in 29 tries or 29 deaths
Of power. We learn from Roderica that someone is grafting those who approach Stormvale Castle.
Everyone's been grafted?
Grafting is the process of joining separate tissues so that they may grow together. In Godrick's case, he grafts the limbs of challengers to his body, that he may grow from their strength. As his remembrance tells his story, a feeble man sought power through the grotesque act of grafting. One day we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold. Godrick yearned for the glory of a bygone age, hoping to return to it in a splendor of golden light. We can learn much about his golden yearning when we consider his lineage. Gideon Ofnir summarizes.
So, Godrick the Grafted, Lord of Stormvale.
This guy must be in that chamber that we can teleport to off the map where we first fought that invader way back. I should head back in there and we can talk to these guys and learn more about maybe Margit as well, or just Godrick.
Despite being the blood of Godfrey, first Elden Lord, he's a grotesque old fool grasping for power. His castle lies upon the cliff to Limgrave's northwest, but I suspect you know that well enough already.
Godrick seeks the golden glory known to his blood, known to the first Elden Lord, Godfrey. But Enya, in discussing the demigods, explains how Godrick is incapable of achieving this.
Why is he incapable?
But remember one thing. The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika. Godrick the Grafted was but a distant relation.
Distant
The
relative.
of the litter. His divine blood sorely diluted.
Okay, so I'm guessing the closer that descendant is of Marika, the stronger they are. I mean, but from what she said, that seems like the entire premise of how strong, I guess, everyone we encounter as we go through this game. But Godrick, because it's so, like she said, diluted, he was packing us up, bro. Like when we were in that fight. So that's interesting.
Despite being of divine blood, Godrick is a distant relation, with faded power, and as such he is weak. He seeks to claim connection with Godfrey, emblazoning his axe with the figure of a beast, representing the strength of the first Elden Lord. But he is ridiculed by many of the residents of the lands between.
They're making fun of him?
Obviously, the attempted connection does not shine through. And considering his history, it's no surprise. We hear much of his pitiable story from Sir Kenneth Haight, who ridicules as much as relays the feats of Godrick.
Honestly, Godrick's nothing more than a jumped-up country bumpkin.
Country bumpkin.
Lord? Oh, don't make me laugh. First, he hid himself amongst the womenfolk to flee the capital, then hid from Radahn in that castle. Then he insulted Melania, lost to her in battle, only to lick her boots rather than die like a man.
Damn. Licking her
There's no
boots?
shame. The big girl's blouse.
Okay,
And
that's
to think, he's
not
the brother of
honorable.
Godfrey, last of the golden lineage. Though you almost wouldn't know it to look at him. Yeah, I almost feel sorry for the chap the more I think of it.
And Kenneth isn't making this stuff up. We get confirmation of at least some of what he says in a swords monument in Limgrave. It reads, Godrick the Golden, humiliated, having tasted defeat by the blade of Mikola, now on his knees begging for mercy.
Bro, we're like 3.5 minutes in, not even halfway through the video, and I feel like I've learned and understand Godrick so much more. This guy's life is really on the... It's just at the bottom of the barrel when it comes down to all of the descendants of Miquella. And he seems to just have such an ego that he doesn't want to admit that, or maybe he understands it, but when he's talking to us, lowly tarnished and saying he was Godrick the Golden, you know, the fact that he hid and ran, talked shit, then lost the fight, didn't want to see Radahn, just hid in the castle. You know, I think that says a lot to like who he is as a character.
So it seems like Kenneth is speaking reliably, which would mean Godrick was humiliated by both Melania, the Blade of Mikola, and Radahn, in addition to his sorry state of hiding amongst the women when he fled Lindell. He might have even used magic to make himself appear as a woman to really sell the ruse.
Whoa.
After all, the Mimic's Veil item description reads, when Godrick was hounded from Lindell, the royal capital, this was one of a multitude of treasures he took with him. This item lets players use FP to mimic nearby objects. So Godrick could have used it
that
to
item.
mimic the fleeing women, to really make sure he was not spotted, along with stealing plenty of other items.
So he was trying to hide, like hide. Not even, you know, go in a corner and like, you know, you'll cover your head and stuff like that. No, he took on a whole identity with that Mimic's Veil. So he was terrified of fighting Radahn or being found.
Ever the coward. But there's something else important about that sword's monument inscription. It refers to Godrick as Godrick the Golden, the same epithet as is used for Godfrey. This is another testament to his golden lineage, regardless of how diluted it may be. Maybe the Golden is Godrick's proper or original title, and what he was called before he began his grafting. We do hear Morgott call him Godrick the Golden.
Godrick the Golden.
Wait, I haven't seen this.
Grafted was a title of derision that people began calling Godrick.
Fuck, I hope this doesn't spoil too much. I want to learn more about Godrick, but damn.
Later, then it makes sense that Morgott would speak of him with his original formal title. So Godrick was originally a Golden, but nonetheless he was weak, falling and failing many times, being humiliated by other demigods.
Even his walk there, man, it's like he's stumbling or not crippled, but the grafts did so much damage to his body where even if he's a bit stronger, like he's not 100% of what he used to be by any means. Even if that 100% in the past still was so much below all the other sons of Miquella.
Godrick needed more power to assert his place as one of the Golden lineage, and he found an avenue to such power through grafting. But Godrick, believe it or not, was likely not the first in the lands between, or even in his family, to practice the art of grafting to grow in power. In the Altus Plateau, before the capital, we can find an Evergaol named the Golden Lineage Evergaol. In it is
those are
Godfroy
pronounced
the Grafted,
Evergaol?
another of the Golden lineage, who, like Godrick, must have felt too weak for his illustrious line. Godfroy drops the Godfrey icon, a legendary talisman depicting the Elden Lord Godfrey. The description speaks of how the ferocious warrior took the beast regent Sarosh upon his back to suppress his ceaseless lust for battle. Unlike Godrick and Godfroy, who feel weak and need to increase their strength, Godfrey, the one they idolize, was such a warrior that he had to suppress his fighting urges. Once again, the difference between Godrick and his lineage is shown to be painfully vast. We learn that Godfroy was put in the Evergaol by ancient dragon knight Kristoff.
Also, it's pronounced Godfroy? I thought it was Godfrey. So it's Godfroy. That's interesting, man. I had no idea it'd be pronounced like Godfroy. This is this is another reason why I'm glad I'm watching this video. Because I was pronouncing it Evergaol, not Evergaol. And then I was pronouncing it Godfrey, not Godfroy. So that's pretty sick. That was a late game cutscene. You won't remember it for now because you have a long way to go. Okay, good. I really don't want to spoil this game like at all. If I can keep it as fresh as possible, that's the goal. So I'm not watching any gameplay videos. I'm not looking up anything, strategies, tips, nothing. I'm raw dogging this game, and I want to uncover the story as I go. But there's a lot that I feel like I'm missing, even if I'm reading item descriptions and trying to pay attention. I really love the story in any kind of game, movie, or book that I read. So this video here is doing a really good job of breaking this down right now for me, and I think it'll help me appreciate things as I play Elden Ring too.
The Knight's Ashes tell us that, after the first defense of Lindell, Kristoff earned the hero's honor of Erdtree Burial for the feat of capturing Godfrey the Grafted. The first defense of Lindell is a vague event, with our only description of it being found on another sword monument in the Altus Plateau, which reads, "The first defense of Lindell. A sovereign alliance rots from within, traces yet remain of bloody conspiracy." While the rot may seem evocative of Melania, it could just be a choice of translation. It can be translated without the word rot, and it may just mean that the alliance was broken from within, though the blood reference is a direct.
Another potential translation is the first defense war of Lindell. A monarch's union crumbles within and is defeated. The conspiracy of blood, its trace shall be found.
Direct translation. So Mohg, Lord of Blood, may have been involved in this attack on Lindell, though from which side is hard to tell. Considering Godfrey was captured after the fight, it's likely this grafted one was on the attacking side. And we don't really have a clear timeline at all, so this next conjecture could be completely off base. But if this attack happened at the same time that Godrick escaped the capital, then perhaps he saw his kin member fighting with the demigods through the power of grafting. This could have been Godrick's inspiration to take to grafting, to grow in power, to gain respect, and to be worthy of his name. So Godrick began grafting, himself, his followers, and even his warhawks. The warhawks.
Okay, that explains the mini boss that we saw leading up to Godrick, like the one that he was just fighting right there, but it was in a different area. It was inside of Stormvale Castle. It had all those arms, and I was, you're curious because even mini bosses have stories in this game, I'm sure, or some lore behind, why they are the way they are or look the way they are. And if Godrick was grafting other people that were underneath him, that's understandable as to why that monstrosity was inside the castle there.
Ashes read, "Spirit of a Stormvale Warhawk, the talons of which have been sliced off so that razor-fine swords could be grafted in their place. With its lord vanquished and its wings wounded, the hawk perished as it solemnly gazed at its former home."
That's why they have fucking
The
swords at their
storm is a
feet?
Warhawk's cradle.
Oh,
Godrick
wow.
took control of Stormvale Castle, but he did not bring the power of the ancient storm. He stands as the first major obstacle for the Tarnished, picking off the weak ones and grafting them for his own power. Even taking the power of a dragon did him no good, though he could only take the head of a dragon small and long dead. And in this futile act, we can see for one last time Godrick yearned to mirror his blood. For long ago, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, fought in the war with the dragons, facing the Storm Lord alone. And war was not all. His son, Godwyn, befriended the dragons, becoming companion to Fortisax, whose Death Lightning incantation features Godwyn's Golden Lightning. In his final moments, Godrick once again juxtaposed his weakness to his ancestors' strength, presenting a feeble rendition of his family's theme of draconic connection. Finally, Godrick shouts for his ancestors to recognize him. Then he dies, yearning to return to Lindell in golden glory.
And one day, we'll return together.
Oh, that's tragic.
Bathed in rays of gold.
But he could only find lordship in Stormville, and only for a time. He could not escape his weakness and his cowardice. Thus, he fell. But there is a new lord, ready and willing to take his place. With the newest patch, Lady Nepheli Loux can find her place as Lord of Stormville, recognized by the fair judging sense of Kenneth Haight. Nepheli Loux is of lineage and possible daughter of Hoarah, the warrior side of Godfrey the Golden.
Oh, she looks sick.
In this, Stormvale once again is led by a warrior of a lord, one who can summon the storm once more. And that is the end of the lore of Godrick the Grafted. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to stick around if you want to see more, because I will be making more lore content about Elden Ring. Let me know in the comments if there's anything I missed, or any kind of interpretation that you think isn't justified. There's definitely a lot about the first defense of Langdell that I'm not sure about, and that could use a lot more explanation and figuring out the timeline. So, hope to see you in the next video.
That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. I really didn't. I knew there'd be a lot to his lore and in depth, but I did not expect at all for him to be such a distant relative with regards to the blood of Milica and I think it's Radon, and that's why he's weaker, but also why he's always just kind of vying to be included, I guess, in the inner circle of everything. But the lore bit where he was talking about how you probably heard me talking about this throughout the video too, just hiding from Radon, um, talking smack to Melania, and then losing that fight as well. Super interesting stuff. So obviously the guy was a little bit saucy, but that may have been a result of him obviously vying and trying to be bigger than what he was, possibly, with regards to his status, his power, and eventually going through the downfall that we saw there, where he started to graft himself, and his title going from Godrick the Golden to Godrick the Grafted. I never even understood the Godrick the Grafted like name plate when you're fighting him to be something specific as to like that history, because I thought Godrick the Grafted was just his name because the guy was literally grafting all those things onto him. I didn't think it was a replacement for a previous name. But for someone who's, a lord of a massive castle like that, obviously they're going to have some kind of power in the world, have some kind of backing behind them. So him being a descendant in that way, or a distant relative, makes a ton of sense. So I really liked that video. That was sick. I can't wait to watch some more as we get further in the game and beat other bosses. Again, this is Godrick the Grafted, Elden Ring boss lore explained by MadLuigi. I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. We don't follow, that's YouTube, but appreciate you guys. See you in the next video.